All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 481 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk about Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts suffered an injury in the Chicago Bears game. Now, it is believed that he suffered a torn MCL, and it will possibly require surgery, and he's going to be out for a while. We're going to talk about that and we're going to explore what does this mean for the Falcons going forward. What happens with this team offensively, and as far as the win-loss total going forward, like what happens with this team. Despite everything that has happened with the Falcons, this is a big loss for the Falcons. This is something that it was not in the cards ever. You never want, one of your top five, top 10 picks being injured for a long period of time. And it does throw a wrinkle in a lot of things. So we're going to talk about that in everything under that umbrella. If this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I know this podcast may be up a little bit later than usual. I really wanted to think about this episode before I make this episode because to me, I feel like this is a big deal for the Falcons. This is a really big deal. Kyle Pitts is pretty much one of the primary targets for the Falcons, even though that the Falcons haven't been passing enough, in my opinion, but he's still a primary target when Marcus drops back the pass. And to lose him is going to really open up some things for other receivers, but it also could be a situation where we may scale back even more in the passing game, which is kind of, it's kind of unbelievable when you think about it, but it's possible. So we're going to talk about all of that. But I really want to say, before I go even further, betus.com or betus.pa, the link is down in the description if you want to, jump on the bandwagon and put some wages down. With the way things are going with the Falcons now, you could go in and put some money on Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algier. Put your wages on those guys now, because with Kyle Pitts out, you probably could, win some money going, betting on these guys to do more in the production category, as well as Drake London. He will probably see more touches as well. So BetUS, if you hit the link down in the description, put down $100, you will get 125% sportsbook bonus. So you double your money out of the gate. And like I said, you put that money into guys like Algier, Patterson, even Caleb Huntley or Drake London. That may be the move, because with Kyle Pitts being out for the Falcons, you can see these guys get more touches, and you can put a wage down to see if they get more than usual. And probably win some money off of that, because the odds of them may be slightly closer than what it need to be, but you can win money that way. So click the link down in the description, BetUS. Not only that, before I go on with the show, you can bet on all type of things. NBA, NFL, other games, MMA, the World Cup is going on right now, esports, all that stuff. Links down in the description. W Money, put down $100 with the link in the affiliate link down below. Shout out to BetUS. All right, now let's talk about what could go on with the Falcons now. We are looking at a situation where they're probably going to run the ball more. They're probably going to run the ball a lot more because of the fact that you're missing one of your passing or your receiving weapons. And it's kind of disheartening, because I already felt that this was not a recipe to win a lot of games. And they kind of proved me wrong with the game against Chicago, but the defense stepped up. So if we run the ball more efficiently and we're able to play defense like we did this past game, I think we'll be okay. It'll be the safe way to do things. But I feel like in this league, you have to be a prolific passer. You look at what's going on with other teams that are throwing the way that we're throwing. They're just up and down. I feel like this team could be just as dynamic, or actually be dominant, if we had a prolific, efficient passer. And like I said, it's not a knock on Marcus Mariota. It's just that his limitations are just doing enough to get us by. And that's the part that I don't want to, be a part of. I don't want to be a part of a team that just gets by. And with us being 5-6 and being right there, a half a game behind in the division, and was leading the division at one point, it sounds good. And you know what? You can't really knock it. You can't be mad at it. But I know this team could be better. And I'm not saying Desmond Ridder could be the guy, but even with all of our pieces on offense, we were just getting by. And to me, I feel like that's not good enough. And I know the coach is probably going to say, no, we're doing the best we can to win. And you probably are doing the best thing you can to win. And it's probably the best shot to win. But Marcus Mariota is limited, or he's not given the opportunity to expand his game to where he can throw the ball more and get more of in a rhythm, or get these guys more touches so they can be more dynamic in open space, or whatever the case may be. I think Drake London has done a phenomenal job this rookie season, and I'm really proud of him. Also, Tyler Algier, he's on pace to get 1,000 yards. I think both of these guys are on pace to reach the 1,000-yard mark as rookies. And one thing I will say about Arthur Smith has done a pretty good job with, drafting. He hasn't really missed. You see Taquan Graham, who's also out with the injury. Don't know what's going to go on with him. Hopefully, it's not as bad, but it's not looking too good. You look at Richie Grant, Taquan Graham. I think the only person that you look at Bernie. You look at I want to keep going. You look at Evan Kente, who's come on really well. Troy Anderson, D'Angelo Malone. You got some guys here that he's drafted look really good, and I'm pretty sure that Desmond Ridder is going to be right along that line with everybody else. But they feel like with the quarterback position, and I get it. With the quarterback position is very, very delicate. That's a position that you really want to get right, and they're not ready to put him out there just yet. Which I think personally, he'll be up to the task if he is put out there. But I kind of understand where Arthur Smith is coming from. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I understand it because you want Desmond Ridder to learn everything that he can before he gets out on the field and perform. And as long as Marcus Mariota is doing just enough to get by, that's what it's going to be. So is it going to continue to be that way when you have like a Kyle Pitts out, possibly for 4 games minimum? It could be a situation that he's out for the season. I hate to say that, but it's a possibility. Is it a possibility that he can come back for for a playoff run? I don't know if the Falcons get. I mean, but you got to think about it. The Falcons could possibly make the playoffs. Like, seriously. I know the NFC East is looking great. Everybody in that division is over 500. But some dominoes going to have to fall at some point. And if the Falcons continue to move the way they're moving, and if they keep moving the way they're moving, and they win 2? I didn't say win 2. If they win like 2, 3, maybe 4 more games, you're probably looking at a team that probably could make the playoffs. You got to understand, they already won 5 games. A lot of people thought we was going to win 2. And we're on the cusp to win maybe 3, maybe 4 more games minimum. Yeah, I mean, this is something you really got to think about. But do you win those games without a Kyle Pitts? Do you win those games when the offense is being held back a little bit already on the passing side of things, and now you're missing one of your biggest pieces that you invested in as a top 5 pick? Does the passing game continue to be scaled back? If so, does that win games for you? What does that do for you as a team? What does that do for you as a fan? Do you have confidence and faith in that? I'm very, very worried about that. I'm very worried that now we're looking at a situation where we may pass maybe 10, we may even pass maybe 12 times a game now. And I've been on record saying that's not winning football. It's not. You're going to do a lot of other things very well to win football games if you're going to pass the ball between 12 and 15 times a game. He threw the ball 20 times a game this past game. He's been on average to throw between 17 and 22 times a game. I think it's somewhere like around the average. Now, without Kyle Pitts, it could be a situation where we don't pass as much. Now, does the other tight end backup, does he get most of touches? Does he get more opportunities? Do we continue to move the ball, play business as usual? It's hard for me to believe that we're going to continue to run with the same game plan. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have a problem with being wrong because I just have questions. I'm just asking normal questions. It's just because anybody game plan will be altered if you lose, one of your top players. Just look at that. Like, let's say, for instance, what happens if, like, Kansas City lose Travis Kelce? You see what I'm saying? You seen, let's be honest. You seen how Tampa Bay moved now without Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, I know the numbers look fairly similar for Tom Brady, but it's not as dynamic. They just move the ball around in other places, which I would like the Falcons to do, move the ball in different places. What happens when you lose that top tight end? You know what I'm saying? What happens when you lose your basically your number one receiver? So that's the question that I have, because I don't know what happens after that. Maybe we'll find out throughout the week. We'll find out in the next game coming up. We're playing the Washington Commanders. We'll know. But knowing what we've seen the last 11 games and knowing that we are limited in the passing game, in my opinion, I think it's by choice, and now you lose Kyle Pitts, what happens now? Do you don't throw the ball as much? Do you run the ball more? Do you throw the ball in a much more of a safer capacity? I don't know how much more safer can you get the way that we've been throwing the ball, but is that the move? What do we do at this point? I feel like it's a very, it's a legitimate question. Because, I'm sitting here just thinking, like, what do you do in this situation? At the end of the day, I think the Falcons are going to be okay. Yes, it's a really big loss, but the only reason why I say they're going to be okay because the Falcons already haven't been throwing the ball as much. That has not been the bread and butter of their offense, and despite that, they still, for all intents and purposes, they should be above 500, and they've been playing fairly well. I think Marcus has done a pretty good job of not costing the Falcons games lately. You could go back in the first 2 or 3 games, and you look and see and say that Marcus cost us a few games. But he hasn't done that lately. So with that being said, the Falcons should be okay because, yes, you're going to alter your game plan, but it's nothing drastic. You got to understand, the passing game has not won games for the Falcons, which I feel like if it was more of a balanced attack where they did do a little bit more dynamic passing, or if the passing was a little bit more prolific, we would have probably been a 3-loss team right now. That's just my opinion. So I think they're going to be okay, even though this is a huge piece that they're losing. But like I said, they don't pass the ball as much. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see. But I don't see much. I think it's going to be a big difference personally, because that's a big target to lose. But in reality, if you really think about it, going through this episode, the more I think about it, it may not be that much of a difference because they don't pass the ball as much. But we'll see. Hopefully Kyle Pitts gets better sooner rather than later. Hope Taquan Graham gets better sooner rather than later. Don't want to see these guys be sitting out for a long period of time. Both of these guys have made a pretty good impact on the team this year, especially Taquan Graham being up in that front seven. The defense looks really good. You ask Justin Fields how good that defense is. They've been getting at the quarterback, and that's a good thing. Kyle Pitts, the opportunity should have been there more often. This guy is a unicorn, and there's also been reports that he's been playing, already been playing injured throughout the season. But that's what happens. Most players play injured. I mean, even going all the way down to high school, players play hurt. So it's a part of the game. But with that being said, we'll see how that goes. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that Bet US link down at the bottom. You can bet on Algier. You can bet on Drake London. You can bet on Cordell Patterson. Go ahead and make some money. Those guys are going to get more touches. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Yes. Come on. Let's say this one more time. I can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. My little man is here once again. What you been eating, son? Huh? Okay. All the links are down in the description if you want to support.
I was eating pizza.
You was eating pizza early this morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just wake up time.
Oh, yeah, it's wake up time. That's right.
I'm not sleeping yet.
My son's taking over the show. It is what it is. It's how he does. Nevertheless, all the links are down in the description if you want to support. You can do all of that, and I will see you guys next time. I'm going to hang out with my little man right there.
Look at this airplane.
Yeah, that's an airplane.
Yes, see this airplane?
Mm-hmm.
That one goes
Wait a minute.
faster.
Can I finish my show? You want to tell everybody goodbye? See them next time?
All right. Yeah.
All right, y'all. We'll see you guys on the next one. You guys take it easy, and y'all be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Peace.